I'm often asked how I go about making my segmented bowls and vases. So I put together this video that will hopefully give you an idea of how I go about it. This is not intended to be a step-by-step instruction guide, but just give you the general idea of how I do it. I start by selecting a piece of lumber. In this case, it's a piece of ash. I cut a small chunk off one end, and then on the bandsaw, cut a circle out that will wind up being the bottom of the bowl. I take the rest of the board and cut it into thin strips. Then I take those strips and, using a homemade sled that keeps my fingers well away from the blade, as well as allows me to have repetitive cuts that are the same, I cut the strips into wedges. A better view of the wedges being cut is here. Next, I take those wedges and glue them together. You may notice a small black piece that is a dyed veneer that I'm putting in between each piece. That's just an embellishment on this particular bowl. It's not really necessary for the process. And as you can see, if I've got my angles cut right, the wedges form a circle. Then put a hose clamp on the circle and tighten it down and wait for the glue to dry. So each strip becomes a ring. Then I sand those rings flat on the faces. This makes a great deal of sawdust, so I have to do it outside when I can. This is so that I can glue those rings together. Then I take the round piece I cut for the bottom and attach it to a faceplate. Clamp it down and wait for the glue to dry. Then mount it on the lathe, scraping the sides to make sure it's perfectly round. Then all the rings get stacked on top of that bottom piece and glued together and put in this homemade press that keeps them held still while the glue dries. Then I put it on the lathe and shape the bowl with various chisels. And of course, then I sand the bowl. After the sanding's done, I put on my favorite finish, and that's how they're made. I hope this has been informative and let you know how I go about this. I hope you like this video. If you do, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.